What's up, guys? This is Ed Gregory from Photos in Color. Welcome to PIC Live 2018. We made it through last year. This week we're going to do your best photos of 2017. Here we go. Okay, so 2017, that was 365 days of awesomeness. I hope you all had a fantastic year. We've just done the festivities. We had the Christmas season or the Hanukkah season or whatever you celebrate. Hopefully you celebrated something with family and friends. I did not go home to England, so I didn't get to see my family, but I did get to spend Christmas with Rosie, who's sitting right over here. So we had a great time. And then it was New Year, 2017 to 2018. What did you guys do on the New Year? Write in the comments, tell me. Remember, during this show, you can write in the comments, you can ask me questions, anything about photography or anything in general, just feel free to ask, and we'll be hopping over to Rosie, and she will be asking me those questions. Now, New Year's Eve this year, we walked down to the Las Vegas Strip where they shut the entire thing down from 3 p.m. till 3 a.m., I believe, and the whole thing people can hang out on and, you know, party. We walked down there, we're on Las Vegas Boulevard and Flamingo, and we watched the fireworks, which were amazing. Hope you guys got to see some fireworks too. But we're gonna play a little video here, because this is something, I'm not sure if this video was the one that came out a few years ago, but this is a video anyway, and this is of somebody flying a drone through the middle of a firework display. So as it's 2018, we thought we'd show you some fireworks, so here we go. So that there is us saying, welcome to 2018. Let's make it absolutely amazing. We've got some fun and interesting things that are gonna go on with Photos in Color. You probably noticed the back end of last year, we basically just did live shows. We were so extremely busy with the studio that I lost track of YouTube. That is changing. We are back. We're gonna have more videos being coming live on YouTube and regular YouTube videos where I'm going to do tutorials. So be sure, whoop whoop, thank you. Be sure when you see that notification, please go on and watch the video and give me a thumbs up. The more that you like, the more that I'll produce, which is awesome. Back to that video that we just watched. Can you believe that somebody flew their drone through a firework display and managed to not have it explode or hit? Rosie was just like, how did it not explode? I don't think there's any real design to that. You just fly it and hopefully you can land your drone afterwards. I would not fly my drone. In fact, I probably would fly my drone.
Would. Let's be real.
Yeah, let's be real. If anybody has followed my channel for a while and watched some of my more vloggy type videos, usually it involves me crashing a drone or two, or I think it's 3 I'm up to now. 4 drones I've crashed now, so we'll try not to do that anymore. So remember, this is where I review your photos. So right now the link is in the description. I think it's below us, right? You can click on that and that gives you an upload link. What I want you to do is find your very best photo of 2017, because that was last year, and upload it so we can take a look and I will critique your photos. In fact, right now, remember I'm critiquing your photographs and I allow you guys to critique my photographs. This photograph, I've already uploaded it to Instagram today because sometimes I forget to do it during the show. So here it is, you can see it here. If you see this photograph, it's actually of Rosie from when we were in Lake Tahoe in summer, and this was taken with a flash. In fact, I have a video which will be coming out maybe this month, maybe next month, all about how to use flash photography to balance light against the sun to make sure you don't blow out your background. I achieved this here with Rosie when we were on a little vacation. She looks beautiful. Please hop on, give me your thoughts and your critiques on this photo. How could I have made it better? What would I have done differently? And I always read all of the comments, and I do try and respond back to you as well. So thank you so much. That is Photos in Color on the Instagram. So before we go any further, let's jump in, and I'm going to start critiquing your photographs, your best photos from 2017. Now, one thing, originally, we did have it to be your favorite holiday photos, but then I decided yesterday, Christmas is kind of done and over. We should be talking about the new year, what we're doing next year, and so we'll use today as a reflection of last year. So if you uploaded your Christmas photos or holiday photos, we have included those and I am going to critique them, but we want your best photos of 2017. So get uploading the images. Here we go. Let's jump straight in and have a look and see where we are here. This was sent in by Jean Michael, or is that Jean? That's Jean, isn't it? Jean Michael, Jean Michael. I don't know. You all know by now that I'm not the greatest at names. Okay, so let's talk about this. I think this is a beautiful photo. I don't know if somebody has thrown in the leaves from the side, or it was an extremely windy day. But her hair isn't blowing. So my guess is either they've been added in post-production or they've been thrown in from the side. Either way, I love the blur on the front, the bokeh, and I love the blur behind. We have great focus on the subject, so I really like it. The only thing that I think the white balance is off on this. It's a little, or maybe this was what you really wanted, but I think that it's a little too orange. So if I, red. So if I click on this, we're gonna bring the greens back, moving it away from the pinks. So now it looks more natural, but maybe the element of this from Jean was to actually have that purple tone. So I'm gonna reset that. But overall, composition was nice. I think it's a really nice photograph. So congratulations for that, nice work. Remember, please include the metadata, so we can see here 1/60th of a second, f2.8, and it was 194 millimeters, and that's how we've got that beautiful crushed background. But they still managed to nail the focus on there, so nice work. Moving on. Okay, Adam Mikulski. I love this photograph, but there's one word that comes to mind, and that is butt crack. Did anybody see the butt crack in the middle of this? Look at that. That is glaring in the middle of that photo. That's what it should be named. It's actually, it's from 500. He's obviously on 500 PX, and we're actually going to look at that site later on today. But great photograph. I like the toning. It's not true black and white. There is some color in there. If you look, it's more of a sepia tone. There's a lot going on in this image, and I actually kind of like it. I like the fact that there's so many things going on, and there is no real focus apart from what jumped out to me originally. But nice photograph, and I actually like this kind of a street photography. Lots of action, no real faces, so nice work there. Okay, so let's look at this. This is from LM Begic, I'm going to guess for. This was probably sent in for their holiday photos. So you can see here a nice long exposure. Something just, we have a window over on the side right here.
What just happened?
And we have blinds to try and cut out the light, and that's how we get this beautiful effect on the background. But one of the blinds had broken, and about half an hour ago, I taped it to the wall. And I even said, didn't I? I said, this is going to come down during the show. And it did. So that whole noise and everything, that scared me a little bit. Was the blinds falling down? Okay, let's get back into these photos over here. This is 10 seconds. So you can see that's how we got the blur on the side from the, what's it called, the Ferris wheel? No, merry-go-round. Merry-go-round. That's what it's called. Corso, so that I'm guessing this is a hotel. I don't know where this is in the world, but is this ice skating? I think this might be like ice skating around the middle. Either way, I want to go there. I want to hang out there. That looks absolutely beautiful. Where is it? Alem, if you're on here, tell us where in the world are you? I'm going to say it looks like it's like a German Christmas market, they're called. I can't read what that says back there, so I can't read what language it is. I think it's a great photograph, just because of the lights and everything that's going on. I get the feeling from it, but I think that the 10 seconds is too much because we've got too much blur on the people, and we don't really, it's a little, there's no real contrast to the image. So I'm going to try boosting the contrast on this. Let's just see what we can do here. Maybe something more like this. The colors are a little vibrant. Maybe I would go somewhere, maybe with white balance. Let's switch out the white balance on this. Maybe something a little bit more like this. I mean, we've taken away that warmth a little bit too much, but it's a little too blurry for me is what I'm saying. There's not quite enough focus to it. But saying that, I'd have loved to have gone to that Christmas market, for sure. Okay, Alex Lima. This looks like somebody doing yoga outside. So, I mean, it's a little dark as an image, but there's no real, okay, I get that somebody's doing focus, but they're sharp, the background sharp. It's cropped square, maybe for Instagram, but for me, it doesn't highlight the image in any way. The problem is here, the subject has got their back to us. There's no real focus to it, and there's no depth of field, so it's not shallow, it's not particularly dramatic in any way. It's just somebody with their hands above their head, you know. It says Brazil holiday. It does look like a holiday snapshot. I think getting lower or using a deeper depth of field, getting a more creative angle would have worked a lot better on this.
Someone commented saying that could do with one of your PIC presets.
This photo could do with one of my PIC presets. Okay, well, therefore, I'm going to come on here and I'm going to try one. Let's see what Fujicolor Pro. So that's definitely lifted this image out. Now I'm editing on a JPEG here. You know what I'm going to do? I'm actually going to come into the HSL specifically, and I'm going to click through a few of these just to show you. What I'm not changing is anything else on the side here. I'm only changing the hue, saturation, and luminance. And you can see we've got loads of presets in here. And clicking through, we're actually getting some beautiful effects. This is before and the after. And I can just flick through and get some beautiful effects with this. So PIC presets, if you're interested, go to photosincolor.com, check out PIC presets. There's over 200,000 different options within the preset system. Watch the video about it. It explains why I made it, how I made it, and how it works. I run a production company, and we do a lot of photography, and we use these images all the time here. They are for professionals. So you're going to get professional results from this. Okay, let's keep on going here. Oh, look at this photo. This is obviously part of the Christmas theme. Have you thrown that up in the air? Is that what we think's what's happened here?
Yeah.
You've thrown it up in the air, and then that's how it's kind of floating. Well, you've done a great job because the sharpness on that, you have got that focus absolutely bang on. Unless it was hanging and then you've photoshopped it out. Either way, you've done an amazing job. Let's see what we've got here. 35mm, 1.8. Yeah, you have managed to get that pin sharp. So absolutely great work on that. I love it. And I love the bokeh in the background. Great holiday shot. Love it. This is obviously another holiday shot. What is this called?
Nutcracker.
This is the oh, that's the Nutcracker. So there's the Nutcracker. It's a cool little doll of it. I like it. It's very festive. It's a nice Christmas ornament. We've got it in context, meaning we have a Christmas tree in the background. So it tells a full story. I don't think that a little model or marionette is that interesting, but as a image to represent Christmas, I think it's really pretty. This would make a great postcard. I think it's really nice. Oh, look at this from Brendan Mooney. Obviously it comes in as their best shot of the year. My guess is this your daughter. It's in front of a lake or in the ocean or something. It is really, really beautiful. And I like this photograph a lot. She's playing in the sand. I love this, it's symmetrical. The one thing that I would change, and a lot of you kind of know this about me, if it's black and white, make it black and white. It still had some yellow tones in there, it's more of a sepia, but I personally would have gone full black and white on this. In fact, let's try on the side here. I've got some black and white presets here. I'm gonna look through one of these like this. See, this is gonna really just make it, it's full on black and white. Look at the before and the after. And now it's just really has brought it alive. And if you want it more of a filmic feel, that's great. But either way, Brendan Mooney, I like it. You've got down low to the sand. You're able to get the background beautifully blurred out. We've used a 50mm lens, 1.8. I think this is a fantastic, fantastic photograph. So well done. In fact, that was shot on a 50mm lens. So we're gonna introduce something else here. So right now, each week, I let you guys choose what next week's challenge is going to be. So this week, we have two options like we always do. And I believe, let me bring it up on here. It is either, oh, I don't understand what this is.
Yeah,
we don't have the titles.
We do. It's because everyone's voted, no one's voted for Winter Wonderland, everyone's voted. I just checked on.
Oh, we haven't, usually we want to put it on the image as well though.
It is on the image. If anyone
No, right here, pop it. We'll talk about that later. The top one is Winter One. It doesn't say it, but it's winter. It says it when you vote, yes. Okay. But anyway, the top one is Winter Wonderland. The bottom one is 50mm. So currently, it's 100% of people have voted for 50mm. Go on and vote. At the end of this show, we will tell you what the vote is, and that's what we're going to be doing for next week's challenge. So go on there. It's either Winter Wonderland or 50mm, meaning a 50mm lens. Remember, these are challenges, guys. So what I want you to do is focus on it and really challenge yourself to become a better photographer through these topics. Okay, let's jump back on. Oh, we have some photos loading. Do we have any questions?
Yeah.
Okay, we have questions. Let's do question time. Here we go. There's Rosie is back in town.
Hello.
Rosie. We think today Rosie looks French. So therefore she has to ask every question in a French accent.
Now, wouldn't that be amazing if I actually just spoke fluent French?
It would.
Face would be a picture.
But could you do it in a French accent?
No. Okay, this is from Helen Jenkins Knight. She tunes in every week.
You do tune in. We'd love to have you.
She is asking, I'd love to know how you select your favourite photos. I've noticed the ones I like that are technically good are not the photos that appeal to others.
How do I choose my favorite photo? So that really is, when I go out on a photo shoot, there is a whole process that I go through once I get in Lightroom for it's called culling, how I cull my photographs. So I go through and I use the P, the U, and the X buttons. Pick means I'm choosing it, and X means I'm deleting it, and unpick means I'm just leaving it. So anything where the focus is wrong or something like that, I hit X, and then if it's technically great and I kind of like it, I then hit P, and I click through those all the way through to the end. And then I use my filters, which are at the bottom. So in fact, if you come onto my screen right now, I'm going to show you this. So if we say, these are the images that we've got in today, I'm going to give a demonstration. If I hit P, you see it flagged it as pick. If I select X, it will delete the image, okay? But what I'm going to go back and unpick means it sets it back to 0. And then now I've got this one picked and say, let me pick the next one as well. If I go into filters in the bottom here, what I can do is I can go to flagged. And now it's only going to show me, let me just bring this up at the bottom, any image which is flagged, deleted, or just nothing. So I'm going to go in for flagged only. And then I start star rating. So for example, I'll give that one a 1 star, I'll give that one a no stars. So what I would then be able to do is down here, I'm going to go for the rated as well, so that'll be included. And now I can say 1 star, like this, and a PIC. That means I only have that one image. Now, the reason why I've just showed you that is what I do to go through that process, immediately I can get rid of a load of images, but then I'll slowly, you know, 1 star, then 2 star, and 3 star, and each time I'm just going down. And then I can get down to, if I wanted 1 photo, I can get down to, say, 10. And with that, what I'm going to do is start focusing and seeing, okay, which one has the most story, which one has the most drama. Because what often happens as a photographer is we're working on something, so we're going to choose a photograph that's like, oh, I was trying to work on my focus, and this focus is perfect. But the composition might be terrible. So once you've managed to cull them down to your final 20, then think of the overall image. What is the story? What is the composition? And then another great way to then complete this is spend a lot of time looking at other people's work. Go on 500px. Go on, what are the other ones? Flickr. Go on Instagram. Go on all these ones and see which photographs have been liked, which ones are currently in, you know, pop culture, so which are popular at the moment. Go in and just train yourself in that so you can go, oh, at the moment, a lot of things are leaning towards this. Now, you don't have to copy those things, but that might be a really great way to kind of take your thoughts and kind of align it with a lot of other people's. And then the other one is, I do this all the time, I get down to the final 10 if I need one image, and then I'll just ask a few people. Say, what do you think? And I won't tell them why I think these ones are good or why. Like, don't ask them anything. Just say, which one do you prefer? And that way, you're not influencing. You're just taking an opinion. And then the other side of it is, doesn't matter. You're the photographer. You're the artist. So whichever photograph you want to do and choose, that's the one that you do and choose. Like, go for it. Have confidence in your decisions. Okay, let's jump back in and let's continue to look through your photographs. We've got a lot of photographs coming in. Okay, let's see this. David Guilford, this comes obviously from when it was the Christmas theme or holiday theme. I really like this. Is this a Christmas tree outside? I think it is. You got a flash involved, maybe? I can't quite figure this out. Maybe you're in some kind of a mall and this is a shop to go into. Either way, I think it's a really nice photograph. The problem is with it, I don't know where to look. If you're going to show me the whole Christmas tree, show me all of the Christmas tree. You've showed me kind of a quarter of it. If you want to take a photograph of this bauble down here, or this decoration, then make sure the focus is on that, you know? It's a little bit too general. But outside of the color grade, I think it was hard because you got a flash and then the background, you've got this yellow because that would have been from a warmer light. So if I show you, for example, these tiles on the floor, this door is probably white. So if I set the white balance to this, now this background is going to look great, but the rest of it's going to be too blue. So I think you did a really great decision of choosing to use the white balance on the tree because that's what the main focus was. A little bit of work on the composition needed to be done there. Let's keep going. Okay, so Dr. Sanjita Ajmera Ria. Sorry about your name there. Okay, so it's a landscape shot. It looks like we've wanted to get these down here. The problem is it's not sharp enough. My guess is you're doing it handheld at 1/400th of a second and you've just moved a little bit because we're all a little bit blurry. So definitely work on locking this off and getting that sharpness. Maybe it was a kit lens, f6.3, 1855, oh, that is a kit lens. So you may have got a little, you've not quite got your sharpness because it's a kit lens. So you couldn't have done anything about it. I think the framing's nice. You've got the top of the mountains leading across the line, and then you've got another line going in the opposite direction of these down here. But again, it's just a little bit general. It's just a little bit of, this is a landscape. It's not got any drama or passion. Like, work harder with your photos, guys. Really challenge yourself. Okay, George Ernst. Now you tune in a bunch. Wow. This is a glacier at Spitsbergen. Am I correct? Or is it Spitsbergen Glacier? I don't know. Either way, I love this photograph. You've managed to get both sets of mountains down the side, photographing it over a lake. It looks like there's mist in the foreground, but what you've really managed to do is capture the blue and manage to keep the snow still white. Now, I'm not sure how you did that. Maybe that's just how it came out and you were lucky, but often you get a lot of reflection on down here, so you may have actually brought down the, with the brush. I'm going to show you what people can do. With a brush over at the side here, you can bring down your saturation, and what you can do is you can just paint over areas like that. And what you're doing is you're taking the color out of it, so it means that it goes a nice pure white. I'm not sure if you did that, but either way, that is a fantastic photograph. Composition is brilliant. If we come in here, we can see the rule of thirds. I don't know if you see thirds here. That horizon is pretty much bang on that third. So great work. The only thing that you could have done was bring it in and then got the edge of the lake to be bang on in the middle. Something like this, so it's more symmetrical. But I personally don't think that that's entirely necessary. Let's keep going. Do we have more questions, Rosie?
Someone's asked what type of camera did he use for that?
Or what type of camera for this one? Well, I can tell you the lens was an 18mm lens, and the camera was a Nikon D80. So that is a FX, so that's a crop sensor Nikon camera, I believe, so correct me if I'm wrong with that. And you've got a 18mm, and I think it's a kit lens because that's a 3.5 to 5.6, which is usually the kit lens. So this goes to show that you can get the sharpness and you can get a beautiful image using a kit lens set at 18mm, nice and wide. So really, really great work. Let's keep this going. Okay, so this is from John Barnett. This is of a flower. Now, what I like about this is it fades to complete black. The problem is here, so we're gonna have to move on, is just the resolution's just not big enough. I can't zoom into this because it's just all pixelated. So please upload high resolution images, because currently it's just too low of a resolution. If I go 1:1, so actual size of this, where's this? 1:1. That's how big the image is. So it's a little bit small. I can't really reference it. But what I would say, you probably just want to boost your exposure and make it that little bit brighter. Yeah. Okay, wow, look at this. This again is a little pixelated here, but this is of a lion. Now, I don't know if this was in the wild or in captivity. I like the way it's faded to black and you can barely see the hair. I'm not sure if you've used a flash on this in terms of a beauty dish, which is what you do it in a studio like this, but I don't know if you'd have access to a lion in a studio. Maybe you did, maybe you didn't. Either way, I think it's a beautiful photograph, and I love again that it's really faded to black on the outside, so it's almost like a portrait of a lion. So great work on that. I think it's beautiful. But please upload your highest resolution of your images. Let's keep going here. Oh, I've got it on fit. Let's just come out here. There you go. Nice. So we've got that again. I would make it black and white if it's black and white. What a beautiful expression of the baby. So we've obviously got that. The problem is here, we've cut off the face. We've got rid of the nose and the eyes. So composition-wise, I think you needed to pull out on your camera. Now, you've not told me what lens it is. Please include your EXIF data. Don't just pull it off Facebook to give it to me, because it means that it's really low quality. But what I would probably do would be bring in the focus to just the baby, because while we've got her face cut off, it's a little bit weird, unfortunately. So a little bit of extra work done on the composition there, Lizzie. Nice. Okay, here we go. So Matthew Rickwood, a nice portrait. Focus bang on the eyes there. This is a great example of a high resolution image, so thank you for that. Nice shallow depth of field. It must be a 1.8 or a 1.4, surely. You've not included the metadata. Guys, please, please, please include that, because that's how we manage to learn, so we can talk about that. But that must be an f1.8 to do this, because we're out of focus right on the jawline here. Shot from above, making a little childlike. I think that she's too low in the frame. I think for this, you're going to have to cut off more of the head. Oh, not quite that much. More of the head so that her eyes are higher in the frame. I don't know if we're going to be able to do it. That looks more natural to me, because now her eyes are more high in the frame, so she's not hanging off the bottom. So really work on the framing of that. Outside of it, I think it's a nice image. I think that the editing is nice and natural and clean and simple. So great work, Matt. One thing that you can do on a portrait like this, when you see the eyes are a little bit dark because the light is so small, the key light, is you can come in here and you can actually use something here. If I double click effect, you can actually use clarity just a little bit to wipe over the eyes. And what you're actually going to see is it helps to bring out, you see the before and the after, it helps, and I'm actually going to lift the exposure up. Not too much. So what happens is it just, look at those eyes now. Now they're popping forward and they're coming out a little bit. And if you're unsure how to do that, with PIC presets, you get all of my brushes. So inside here, if I click down, we've got all of these brushes that you can do down here. She has yellow eyes. So if I go enhance green, like so. I'm actually going to delete that though, because I'm going to zoom in, like so. And we're on enhance green eyes. And if I only paint on the eyes, like so, so just the colored section, if I look at the before and the after, what's happened there is it has perfectly lifted her eyes, and I've got the same thing for blue, for brown, for everything, skin retouching. So you get all of those brushes with PIC presets if you're unsure how to do it yourself. So great work. Okay, Mark Wallach. I don't know what your name is. This is a hawk or something capturing a fish. Look at that. I'm guessing you're a bird photographer, because you don't just get a snapshot of that. You've clearly been following that. Again, let's see, do we have any information here? Let me just see. Yep, 150 mil at 5.6. Beautiful photograph. I think the editing is good. We've got a little bit of blur on the wings that personally I like. I know a lot of bird photographers are looking for perfect sharpness. I personally think this is fantastic, like really great work. Oh, Martin Smithson, that is a photograph that has captured the scene and energy wonderful. It's early morning. It looks like you've got frost on the floor down here. The sun is rising. Beautiful sunset, nice and crisp on the trees. Nice solitary photograph. I think this is a wonderful photo. Personally, not in love with the square crop. I wish that I had the rest of that image. I wish that I could see it in landscape mode. Outside of that's just because I love the photograph and I just want to see more of it. Okay, let's do one more, then we're going to jump to some other things. Mihai Matic, this is stunning. So we have a frost on a tree. We have the beautiful snow on the ground. Huge, what are they called? Shadows coming towards the camera. I think I'd like a little bit more from the trees back here. So what I might do with this one is just lift the shadows. just a hair. I'd probably do that just to bring it out a little bit. But that is a beautiful winter wonderland, which is one of our themes for next week. So remember, head over to Photos in Color on Instagram, vote for next week's challenge, either winter wonderland or 50mm. What's it currently at?
Winter Wonderland's 20% and 50mm is 80%.
80% of people have voted for 50mm lens photography. So if you don't want that to win, head over to Winter Wonderland or stick with it and go vote for 50mm. Let's see where we end up in the next half an hour. So what I'm going to do now, actually, I'm going to come back to my screen. I want to go through. So we're doing your best photos of 2017. Now, I've gone through and looked. If you search for best photos of 2017 on, say, Google, lots of people have made some lists. You've got National Geographic, you've got Time magazine. So I've gone through some of these, and I wanted to show you some photographs that I thought were outstanding from last year. But what I haven't done, I've tried not to select things that are impossible for other people to shoot, okay? Like I haven't selected a photograph that was taken by NASA from space. There are some amazing photographs of that, but I want to tell some other things. So if we jump into my screen here, this first one is from Time magazine. So you just search best photos of 2017, go to time.com, and you're going to get this whole list of things. Now, with Time, they focus a lot on reportage, or people that shoot for news agencies and things like that. So I've tried not to select a lot of those things, but this photograph to me really stood out. It looks like somebody's in the audience watching maybe the French Open or something, because I know that they play tennis on blue turf. But they have been watching, where is this? Australian Open. But it looks like the barrier is in front of the camera, and that's what's created that black bar. And then you've got that highlight of light and him striking the ball. So that there is a way to take a very unusual photograph, and honestly could have been taken on a phone, because technically there's not a lot to it. They've focused instead on beautiful and very creative composition. So remember, guys, focus on things like that. Next one to look at is go take a look at National Geographic's top photos of 2017. They are known for their stunning photography, and they have, you can just flick through and just see amazing photo after amazing photo. I mean, look at this. But I wanted to bring up this one because my last PIC live show was long exposure. And this here is a great example. You've got monkeys running through grass. Now you might think when you would capture this, oh, I want to get these monkeys perfectly sharp. But instead what the photographer's done is choose to pan the camera, maybe had it on a 4-second shutter speed, and they've managed to blur, maybe half a second. They've managed to blur the monkeys just enough so none of them are in focus, but they really tell the story of the monkeys moving across the landscape. So that there is another great example of using, you don't have to have a pro camera or pro lens to achieve something like this. Obviously, you need to have a monkey. You need to have a field of monkeys, which, not everybody's got in the backyard. But it's definitely something to think about to be a little bit more creative. Okay, so we've got the year in pictures from the New York Times. How do I get rid of this advertisement? I've been given an advertisement.
Click on the offset.
I don't know what happened. Okay. This was the photo I wanted to show. So New York Times, they have a great list as well, very news oriented. But I wanted to show this. This was a photograph of the eclipse, which was big in North America this last year, total eclipse. And rather than photographing the eclipse, because that's what everyone was doing, this photographer has photographed people looking at the eclipse. And I love this photograph because it's empty, it looks like they're in the desert. They've obviously been sat out there for hours. It's absolutely a wonderfully captured image from a more interesting and unusual perspective. So this year when you're photographing, try and think of these different perspectives. And I think this photographer, who is Tony Greaves, has done a wonderful job. Let's keep going through a few others. This here is My Modern Met. If you don't know the website, My Modern Met, go look at it. It's something that you can go look at every single day. They have done a great job of finding all sorts of really interesting stories, creative projects from photographers, design, painters, artists, sculptures, anything which is going on, you'll find it in My Modern Met. But they also do this very interesting stuff, so definitely check that out. Their photographs, they've got some really interesting stuff here, which I've really enjoyed looking through. But one that stood out for me was this photograph. Because again, it's not about the camera, it's not about it being technically perfect, it's about seeing something that was very creative and just capturing it, and it tells a wonderful story. And look at this, we've got a silhouette of one tree, no, not silhouette, a shadow of one tree matching up with the top of another tree through on a pretty boring wall with an ugly fence above it. But in terms of a photograph, it's wonderful. I don't know if this person just saw it and snapped it.
It's like a prison.
It does look like a prison, doesn't it, on the other side? But either way, like, it is brilliant. So check out My Modern Met's best photos. And you can go, I mean, look at these photographs. They're just absolutely brilliant. And what's this one? Wow, that's amazing. Okay, and then I mentioned earlier, 500px.com. If you don't know that website, again, it's a great photo sharing website. Go on, you'll find stunning photographers on there who've got incredible shots, and it's a great place just to go and be inspired. Spend 10 minutes a day on that place, you're gonna be inspired. They've actually done 3 parts, because they had so many great photographs, they've done a 3-part blog about it, all categorized. So we jump in here, this is their part 1, and you can see there's, in part 1, they have cities and architecture, celebrities, cars, landscapes, still life, but I wanted to bring up this photograph, because again, rather than getting all the way in there to take a photograph of that building, they've pulled back and they've shown the window that they're taking it through, and it's created a very interesting, dynamic photograph. So again, think about your composition. You can see there's so many great photographs on here. And then the next one, I picked out this one of people. I liked this, and because the color tones fit perfectly. We've got the yellows, the orange hair, the orange flowers, the yellow top. A lot of thought has gone into this, which is really, really good. And the final one here, this again is a photograph, which you imagine was taken, it's a pretty simple photograph of a diver near the surface. But by rotating the image, it's created this image where it looks like he's looking through the water like a looking glass or a window or a mirror. So it's created this very interesting shot, and that was literally just by rotating the image. So what I want you to take from this is think differently about when you take a photograph. Don't just be like, oh, this is what I'm taking a photograph, I'm gonna do it like this. Try and think about how you can make it look a little bit different. Is there a different angle you can shoot from? Can you introduce a color? When you're editing, can you rotate it to create something of interest? This year, I think it should be about creativity, not about just perfect, is it sharp, but everything else that comes with it. Okay, here we go. We've not got a long time left, so we're gonna flick through everything here. Oh, I don't know what, there's some notifications there. So let's come in here, and let's keep on looking at your great photographs. Where did we get up to? Where did we get up to? We didn't get very far, did we? We're still uploading. Opa, sorry, we're still getting loads of photographs. So we might go over a little bit, because I'm gonna go through loads right now. Beautiful photo. This is a little dark, and I don't think the white balance is right. I'm not in love with this image. There's not a great amount of focus or drive behind this image. Maybe getting a lot lower to this and bringing in and focusing on something would have made the context of it stand out a little bit more. Oh, look at this. This is cool. So this is a kid with a Christmas tree in the background. The focus is on the back eye. You really want to try and focus on the eye closest to the camera, but it's not always possible. I love the pose. He looks pretty cool. He's just hanging out in his living room. a beautiful photograph. So Mark Phillips, really nice work. Let's keep going. Ooh, so this is what I really like. Oliver Hadel, great work. A football, I don't know what team it is, but this is obviously a American football.
Mustangs.
It's the Mustangs. It's an American football pitch, but the bleachers are empty. Nobody's on there, and you've got a lone golf cart, which maybe it's collecting the footballs or doing some work on it. Either way, it's taken something that you expect to see filled with people, and we have a photograph of it empty. That adds interest, and I don't know if you've added that or they are lights on the front of the golf cart, but definitely it's brought in the focus. I think this is a beautiful, well shot photograph. So nice work. Keep going. Drum kit. Okay, so great bokeh from Peter Schneider. You have got the focus bang on, and I like what you've got around the outside of all of these out of focus elements. We're really looking at the snare drum. So from a drummer's point of view, this is a great technical photograph. And I like that, you know, drum kits are not that interesting to photograph, but you've really managed to capture the essence of this. And I don't know if this is teak or what type of wood, but you've really managed to, maybe it's a cherry. What's it called? A cherry? What's the wood called? Cherry wood? I don't know, I'm making stuff up now. But whatever it is, it's a great photograph of a drum kit if you're into that. Here we go. We had a photograph of this teddy a few weeks ago. It was sitting on the floor. Is this the same teddy? Anyway, this is a Christmas photo. I love the bokeh. I love the trees that have come in. I actually like the focus of the teddy bear. I'm not quite sure why we have this photo, but it's a nice Christmas card maybe, you know? I just don't think it's very dramatic of anything. Oh, I like this. A photo of somebody taking a photo. And in all honesty, it works. The pink of the phone matches the pink on the face. It looks like it's one of those color runs, you know, where they do the run and then they throw the powdered stuff everywhere. Really great. I just wish that this person down here was looking at the camera. It's also not a very high resolution image, so please send in higher resolution images. Look at that. That's so cool. So this is a sunset, I'm guessing, dramatic clouds. You've got rays of light everywhere across open plains. It's very yellow, which I'm not necessarily a fan of, but for this image, I think it kind of works. This is an interesting photo, most definitely an interesting photo. So I like it a lot, actually. Very dramatic. Nice work. Best photo 2017 from Taj Fitakraxanti. It's long. Do we have any questions, by the way?
Yeah.
Okay, we do. We're going to come to questions in a minute. We're going to run over a little bit today because we've got so many great submissions. I like this photograph. I like the black and white. I wish that we had a little bit more space above the top of this building. We've got too much road and not enough building, for me, anyway. But outside of that, the black and white, the drama, it works. You've done a good job there. Valentin Diakonu. So this here is a little bit... okay, we've got the focus on the stamen of that plant. That's fine. But I feel like we've got a little bit of the bottom flower here and we're cutting off the top of the flower here. So we've not quite got the focus right on this, or the composition isn't quite in line. So I think a bit of work needs to be done there. And I also think that the white balance is just too warm. Maybe this would be a little bit better on the white balance. But yeah, I don't really know what I'm looking at. Oh, that's cute. So this is from Wiz1eth. I like it, you know, a little bit high in the frame. I think she needs to be brought down a little bit, but this is a posed shot. It's a pleasant shot. It's out in the woodland, a little stream behind her. It's nice. I don't think there's a lot of drama, but as a simple portrait, I think it's really nice. You could maybe add a little bit of focus to her. So you could use the radial filter tool. You could use it like so, and you could just bring down the exposure around, somewhere like that. Something like this, just to bring in that little bit of focus to her. Okay, Renita Malik. It's a little flat. So lift the exposure, bring down those blacks, boost the contrast. Now we've got a bit more of a dramatic image. It's a nice portrait, contextual. Buildings in the background. Yeah, I kind of like it. I don't know if it's a religious setting because we've got the candles there. But overall, I think this is a pretty nice photograph. I think she's a little low in the frame. She could be a little bit higher in this frame, like this. There you go, that's a little bit nicer. Okay, let's go for some questions.
We have a question from Paulo. I plan to photograph tonight. It's very foggy. Which tips do you have for me?
Oh, very foggy. So my tips for if it's going to be very foggy is highlight the fog. Don't try and get rid of it because it's such a strong feature that if you could get some light in the distance coming through the fog, that will be beautiful because you're going to get these beautiful haze effects. Be careful when you get into Lightroom. Don't whack that dehazer slider all the way to the left, to the right and try and get rid of all the haze because you'll end up ruining the image. So go for drama, 100%. If it's going to be really foggy, maybe try and take a bit of a photograph that's mysterious or something like that. Maybe have a figure that's kind of way out behind the fog. I would definitely not try and hide it. The other thing is fog reflects light just like clouds. So it disperses light. So you're not going to be able to get any focus. It's going to be very soft. And that can be really beautiful. So make sure that what you do with that is expose for the highlights. So you don't want it to be, you don't want to overexpose it so that you can get the shadows. You can always lift those shadows afterwards in post-production. So definitely focus on your highlights tonight. Any more questions?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know how. Wait, oh, it's refreshed my page. I had a question up. Sorry. Oh no, I found it. Sorry, it moved on. What happens if I shoot with a 35 f2 lens on my Fuji film X-T2 that equals a 50mm in full frame?
Okay. You're shooting on a 35, so basically what we're talking about here is a full frame lens on a crop sensor camera. So if this is your sensor, I'm going to use this here. This is your sensor. If you have a 50mm lens, then it's going to create this image just here. It's going to project it perfectly. But if my sensor is smaller, like so, that 50mm lens, all of this data around the outside, we get rid of completely. Therefore, we're technically using just the middle of it, but therefore it acts like a zoom. So therefore, what they've said is a 35mm lens on the X-T10, they've said it becomes a 50mm. That seems about right. I think it might be a little bit higher, more like a 55mm. So it's just going to feel, the crop is going to feel like a 55mm lens. But the bokeh and everything will act like the 35mm lens. So you're going to get a little bit less bokeh because it's a wider angle lens than a 50mm, if that makes sense. So that's all that happens, is you're just capturing just the center bit of data, so it just pulls in the focus. So what will happen is you'll just end up a little bit closer to the image. But what you're taking, whatever you see through your viewfinder, that's exactly the photograph you're taking. So using full frame lenses on crop sensor cameras, absolutely not a problem. You're literally taking the photograph of what you're seeing. It's all fine. It just means that that lens, if you put it on a full frame, it's going to work as a wider angle lens and give you more data. Yep, Rosie?
I think someone was saying that someone else has just commented on what you're saying that he thinks that they're talking about the challenge next week.
Oh, you're talking about the challenge next week. Okay. That is a great question. 50mm, really what I want to do is I want you to use the focal length. Oh, you see, you flummoxed me there. I'm going to say that you're going to take a photograph with the lens needs to be 50mm. That's going to keep it simple. The lens is 50mm. However, it doesn't have to be a 50mm prime lens. If you have a lens, which is an 1855 lens, make sure your focal length is on 50mm. Now it's 50mm. You might have a 24-70. Just make sure you have it set up at 50mm. The lens must be 50mm. I don't care what sensor you have. There you go. That's the answer. Okay, let's keep on going through your photographs because we've got beautiful images in here. And we're going to get through them all. Let's move on to this one. Okay, this is a floating cup that looks like it still has coffee in it with a weird dark subject in the background. Okay, Rick Dass, maybe I'm not getting it. Maybe this is more of a, I don't know, the context isn't showing up. I don't get why this character is throwing a nearly empty coffee cup in the air. As a cool photograph, I get it, okay? It looks like it's floating and there's still coffee in the cup, and I get it. But overall, I don't think it particularly tells a story or does anything. It's called Flying Cup, and it just looks like Flying Cup to me. But because so much thought has gone into it, it's a little bit weird because it doesn't tell me anything. Outside of that, you've got that perfectly sharp and in line, and you've managed to keep coffee in it. Like overall, that's pretty cool. I just don't get it. Tane Das, the last golden hour of 2017. Now that is cool. I hope that this is actually true. It does say that you took this photograph on the 31st at 4:44 p.m. So it looks like it really is that. So really nice, really, really, really great work, because I just love it that you managed to do that. You've managed to get the birds flying in the sunset. You've managed to get a little bit of trees at the bottom. I would maybe just lift the image up a hair like this. Yeah, I'd just bring it out a little bit. But overall, dude, well done. Great photograph, and I just love it that you managed to you decided to go out and capture the last one. So good work. F11, which is how we've got all this sharpness here, the clouds and everything. Good choice there. Oh, we've got the fireworks. Maybe you flew your drone through. So fireworks, what we've got here, long exposure, 3.3 seconds. So you've got it going up, and the explosion. I just think it's a little, I think you needed to just be more like this. You shot at 18mm, I had a shot at the 105 and zoomed in and actually captured the fireworks a little bit better. But you've managed to capture the fireworks, which is very hard to do. Long shutter speed, making sure you don't overexpose things too much. I would maybe even bring the exposure down a little bit more like this. Okay. Ooh, look at this from Alex Fonseca. This is a live performance which has the drama in the stage lights, which I think you've captured. The problem with this is the focus is literally 1/4 of the image. Most of the image is the audience, but we haven't exposed for the audience. So maybe if we brought out the audience a little bit more, that might be a little bit more interesting, but now it doesn't look quite as busy as I thought. So maybe what you'd want to do is just get rid of some of the audience. There you go, so now we've got more focus on the actual action. But great work on capturing this, and I love the drama behind it, and I like you went for the composition, which was more creative, so good for you for that. Oh, look at this. Is this like a building out at sea? Is that what it is? River Clyde? Inversion? Inversion? Does that mean it's upside down? That's the original? That doesn't seem right. I don't know what you did there. But a few things that I love about this is there is barely a horizon. This is a shadow on the water. I believe the horizon is further back than that, which is really cool. And then you've got the reflection, so you've got this very pastel feel. I personally would have highlighted those pastels in here. To do that, I'm not sure what you could do. I know that, for example, inside PIC presets, I do have down here under graduated filter, I believe light leaks. We have a whole light leaks section, and I've got gradients. So I may have stuck in one of my gradients on here. Blue, yellow, pink, maybe like this, just to highlight the pastel colors of that. I think it's an interesting photograph though. So nice work. I'd like to know what it is in the middle, I can't tell. Oh, look at this. Is this a guy playing the piano underneath a bridge? That is awesome. Okay, so Eddie C, you've done a great job. Without a doubt, you've done a great job of this. I like the architectural feeling. I think the black and white is perfect on this. It's real black and white. You've managed to absolutely perfectly frame this so that it's wonderfully symmetrical. But to add that bit of feature, you've managed to get a person playing a lone piano. This, for me, is a fantastic photograph, and you should be proud of it. The only thing I might have done is maybe pull back the blacks and lifted the highlights. I may have just done a little bit like this because it's really, really nice. Okay, we're going to wrap up in a moment. Oh, we already did this photo. We're going to wrap up in a moment, and we're going to see. I'm actually going to do what I like to do at the end. I'm going to come into the library, if it'll let me. Oh, I've done that thing on full screen. There you go, library. And I'm going to quickly flick through some of the ones that I wanted to bring up, just that we haven't looked at. Let's bring up this one of the door. Look at that. That is a cool, cool photograph from Yaksh. You've managed to use the light from inside to highlight the outside. Beautiful, sharp lines. That is a fantastic photograph. Okay, what have we got here? A girl drinking from a big mug. That's very festive and holiday. So I like what you've done there. Very filmic in its feeling. So I like it when I flick through a load at the end here. See what catches my eye. This here of a road. Look at that. Is that a runner? Opa. There's a skateboarder on a longboard there. This is look at the colors in those trees. Wow. You really did manage to capture that. Trapperdams, that's your Instagram account. Remember to include your Instagram account. I love this photograph. Look at the colors, the depth. I love the leading lines going through the image. You have done a fantastic, fantastic job with that. Let's bring up this of a person. Nice shallow depth of field. I think she's a little bit dark. I'd lift her up a little bit there, Nikolai. But I do like the composition of this, and I like the out of focus section here. Oh, another landscape, black and white, strong colors. William Sauser, great shot. I love the way that you got leading lines striking across the middle. The blacks are black, the whites are white. Beautiful work. And then we're going to come over here. Look at this. Tomek Borkowski. This is a deer. Is this a baby deer? Because it's only got little horns. It's a stag of types. Look at that. What a beautifully captured image. 600 mil. So you're a long way away zoomed in. I like that a lot. And then, oh, I think we had this from our long exposure a few weeks ago. Great work. Great, great work. What is the results, Rosie?
We have 50 millimeters as our winner for next
And
week.
what was the percentages?
Percentage, Winter Wonderland was 23%, and 50 millimeter was 77%.
77% of you guys have voted for 50 millimeter lens. So what do we mean by 50 millimeters? We mean the photograph must have been taken using a 50 millimeter lens. Now, we had a question about crop sensor. The lens must be 50 millimeters. The camera does not matter. That's what we're going to go for. It doesn't have to be a prime. You can have a 70 to, no, you could have a 24 to 70 millimeter. Just make sure that you have the camera zoom set on 50 millimeters and take those photographs. Challenge yourself. What can you do with a 50 millimeter? Remember, they often have a nice shallow depth of field, so go and get creative. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Thank you to Kev, who's sitting over here making sure that the feed is running beautifully. Thank you for Ray. He's sitting over here cutting between all the shots and doing a wonderful job there. 2018! And he just created that. Is this a hat? What's above me?
A crown.
Crown. I'm not big enough.
No.
Oh, this is better. There you go. I need to crouch. Oh. Hey, The Crown. If you guys have got Netflix, watch The Crown. It's amazing. And thank you to Rosie for being on camera, looking beautiful, and asking your questions. Oh, remember, I've just remembered, we didn't do it this week. Video submissions of your questions. If you have a question, all you have to do is go over to photosincolor.com/live, and you can submit a video question, and I will answer it live on this show. Okay, thanks so much for watching. This was Ed Gregory for photosincolor.com.